It's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
Because in those debates, you landed haymakers on Joe Biden. I mean, his teeth were like chiclets all over the stage. And now I believe you that you're fully supportive of him. How does that transition happen? How do you go from being such a passionate opponent on such bedrock principles for you, and now you guys seem to be pals?
It was a debate.
Not everybody landed punches like you did, though.
It was a debate.
So you don't mean it.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now. Let's talk a little bit about a new column that Kyle Whitmire has written, talking about the subservience of the Republican Party to Donald Trump, how they kiss the ring, and how they don't mean anything that they say. Well, let's go back a little bit. I played the clip at the beginning of this. It was Kamala Harris calling Joe Biden a racist, making it clear that she thought very poorly of him and how she was personally impacted and hurt by the behavior of the now president of the United States, at that time, former vice president. And it's pretty amazing to me that Kamala Harris wasn't called a shill or anything. You saw the other clip where Stephen Colbert and her were laughing. Oh, that was just politics. It's fine. Well, okay, I actually kind of agree with the whole Kamala Harris thing. It's kind of phony. And yes, I will also point out that people coming around to Donald Trump, it's not a great look, but it's also easily understandable. It's not really phoniness, so to speak. Look at Nikki Haley. She stood up on the stage and she said, hey, I have a lot of disagreements with Donald Trump, but he's better than Joe Biden. J.D. Vance said, I had a lot of problems with Donald Trump, the human being, but Donald Trump, the president, I can get behind. And guys like Kyle Whitmire, you never see them actually lay out how they've come around to support Joe Biden. What would the argument be for Kyle Whitmire to support Joe Biden now, when in the past he definitely did not? What do you make of that? Was Joe Biden his pick in 2020? Go read his Twitter timeline. It was not. But it is now. Why? Well, because as with most of us, we can look at the election as it is, not how we want it to be. And how it actually is a race between Joe Biden and Donald Trump for right now. Joe Biden's being pushed out. And after Joe Biden is finally pushed out, if that happens, all these talking heads will pretend that that's what they wanted all along. And the real stronger ticket is Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or whoever it is they decide to go with. They'll say that. They don't mean it, but they will say that. And the end result will probably be the same. Donald Trump actually winning this thing, which I didn't think was going to be possible. My point in all of this is quite simple. Everyone makes the same calculation. We are generally a two-party system. And that means you have to look at who's left and who you like more, or who you dislike least. That's how this actually goes. And Kyle Whitmire knows that, but Republicans bad, Democrats good. And I want to point something else here in this little column that Kyle Whitmire wrote. He referenced how great the economy is. On ABC, they were talking about how great the crime stuff is and how the crime rate really isn't up. I like that they're trying to sell this to people. They're trying to convince people that you don't feel what you actually feel. And what you feel is wrong. Listen to us. We're smart. And that summarizes exactly why Kyle Whitmire works for an entity that's operating in such a great economy that they have shuttered 3 of their major newspapers in the state of Alabama. But he'll write his blog, and people in New York will love it. They will be super impressed. But no, it will have zero impact on the presidential election or anyone in the state of Alabama.